Right now, let's get over to David Faber. He's at CNBC headquarters, and he's got some breaking news. David, good morning.
Good morning, Becky. Yeah, a company we all follow fairly closely, of course, Exxon Mobil, adding 2 important directors this morning, we can tell you, according to sources. An announcement should be forthcoming from the company. Exxon Mobil will be adding Jeff Ubben and Mike Angelakis to its board of directors. Of course, Mr. Ubben, somebody fairly well known to some of our viewers, certainly a longtime so-called activist investor, having founded the firm Value Act, but he has moved on to now a more of an ESG-focused fund, Inclusive Partners, of which he is raising a great deal of money. He will become a significant investor over time, I believe, I am told, in Exxon Mobil as part of his taking a directorship here. And Michael Angelakis, of course, no stranger to any of us, having been the longtime CFO of Comcast, the company that he helped to manage through a certain type of transition as well at Comcast. And, of course, transition is one of the key things that Exxon Mobil is going through. And under its leader, Darren Wood, seems to be embracing in a way perhaps that it hadn't in the past. It, of course, will continue to develop oil and oil fields around the world, but it is also embracing and will be even more so, one would expect, with the addition of these 2 gentlemen to the board of directors, transitioning to a carbon-free or certainly a carbon-neutral future and helping in the technology to try to do that. The company having made announcements even recently about carbon capture technology and things of that nature. One is imagining here that with Ubben on the board, sort of pushing in that direction, but also understanding the underlying fundamentals of the company, its ability and need to continue to deliver profits, coupled with Angelakis, who, as we know, has a very keen eye for capital allocation. It will be viewed positively. You can see the stock is responding positively and has been responding positively for some time. This after activists started to get involved, not in the form of Mr. Ubben, but D.E. Shaw, which we've been reporting on for some time, took a sizable position in the company, has been in conversations with it for quite some time, and, as you might imagine, is supportive of both these gentlemen being added to its board of directors. You've also got Engine One with CalSTRS out there as well. They do have 4 directors they've nominated for the board, Becky, but at this point, my understanding is that D.E. Shaw, having added or been part of at least the conversation that has added these 2 gentlemen to the board, will be supportive of the slate of directors that management is supportive of at the annual meeting. By the way, worth mentioning, over the last 6 years, ExxonMobil's board has changed. 2/3 of the board has changed over. So a significant remake being done, not just of the board, but even more importantly, over time, it would seem, of the company, Becky, by Darren Wood, its CEO. I know somebody you know a bit well, having followed the company in the past. And something we're going to follow very closely, I think, here. It is no longer the largest company in the country, but it certainly still remains one of its most important.
Wow, big news, David. Watching this, Angelakis, too. There's a name that we all know very well. But you're right. I think looking at what this company is doing and where it's gone, I was glad to see you point out on this news, as you were reporting it, stock up better than 4%. That comes after it was already up more than 30%, just watching the gains that we've seen recently. And the company continues to lay out its plans for how it's going to be changing. They do have their meeting with shareholders coming up. Their meeting with the investors, the street coming up with investors this week. So we'll hear more about what their plans are for how they're going to roll things out, although I think we've heard a lot over the last couple of months. But this is big news. The stock, again, up 4% just today on what you're reporting, David. Yeah.
And, you know, there had been some discussion of Mr. Ubben joining the board. I think perhaps some had not expected that would end up being the case. But Angelakis, perhaps something of a surprise for people as well. And we do know his focus on financial discipline. But we're going to have a lot more on it later on Squawk on the Street. Certainly appreciate you giving me a little time to break it on your show as well, Becky. Thank you.
We certainly appreciate you breaking it here, too. Again, the stock up by about 3.5%. We'll be watching a little later, David.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.